let me conclude by again thanking Sahai, thanking all of you, thanking ECDC, its affiliates, for the work that you do to welcome and support refugees from around the world. Many of you as members of the diaspora, and many of you actually, have come to the United States as refugees. But you embody the strong ties between the United States and the people and nations of Africa. Through remittances and support for projects, you're also a major source for assistance on the continent. So I thank all of you in supporting the people of Africa and advocating for the continent of Africa and for everything you do for Africa's future. Thank you very much. Questions?
I thank you for your service, really. I have a two-part question. One, you talked about your vision 2020 Africa. Before President Obama leaves the office, is there a plan for him to visit Ethiopia? Because the last time AU celebrated the 50th anniversary, I was really disappointed, very disappointed. Not only that, Ethiopia is a very historical country. Ethiopia was a country that was never colonized, supported every African freedom movement. It's a very significant gesture, really. So I think I'm asking this question on behalf of Ethiopians. We were really puzzled. I just heard that he's going to Kenya, but is he planning on visiting Ethiopia? Former President Bush has visited, Africa, Ethiopia a dozen times. So that's one question. The other one is, as someone who's in charge of Africa, are you worried that the Chinese are dominating Africa? We have not seen enough effort from the United States in terms of capacity building. We have to graduate from development aid to capacity building. So these are the things that I would like for you to address. Thank you.
Well, first, I don't think I've spoken to a group that has not asked if the president is visiting their country. I can only say that those decisions are made at the White House, and I will convey your passion for having the president visit Ethiopia to my colleagues at the White House. Again, the president does quite extensive travel, not just to Africa. I'd love to have him visit every single country in Africa. But again, we'll have to ask that question to our colleagues at the White House. And you won't be surprised that I have not done an event where I've not been asked about Chinese in Africa. And my answer is always the same. We're not worried about the Chinese in Africa. My question to Africans, are you worried about the Chinese in Africa? We have been in the United States has been in Africa for more than a half century. We were there from the start. We have supported Africa in ways that we can't even put value to. We're probably the only country in the world, and China is nowhere near us, that has a diaspora that includes people from every single African country. So we are part of Africa. Africa is part of us. Our companies are investing in Africa. We'd like to see more investments. But what I say to African leaders, when they are negotiating with the Chinese, it is up to them to get the best deal that they can get for their people. And what we say to the Chinese is that they have to provide a level playing field. Their companies cannot be paying bribes because our companies cannot pay bribes. We hold our companies accountable. I've told the Nigerians that the only people who go to jail for corruption in Nigeria in the United States are Americans. So a level playing field is an important part of getting American companies to invest in the same way that the Chinese are investing. I think the Chinese have tremendous resources that they can bring to Africa in terms of infrastructure, in terms of financing. But Africans have to make sure that those deals are deals that are in their best interest. They're not high interest, low dividend loans, that it is actually a partnership. We see Africa as a partner. We're moving more and more away from development assistance to partnering with Africans and partnering with companies to invest in Africa. Trade Africa is not about it's not about bringing in U.S. Development assistance. It's about supporting the capacity of Africans to trade with each other and also do more in terms of trade with the United States. Power Africa is all about the business sector. It's about opening up an environment that encourages the private sector to come in and invest in power generation in the country. So I think we have shown our commitment to Africa, and we want the Chinese to show their commitment to Africa as well.
One very question, but I think people
no follow-up. We'll talk.
I think people are hungry. So.
They're hungry.